and as soon as you are somewhere, you feel the pressure to continue because it is so rewarding, but you also carry everyone else on your shoulders too that would love to be there.
What up, everyone? Shaq here for EDM.com, and you know who this is. On the heels of his new release, Bash Plate with Ashes, and on the cusp of his one-of-a-kind headlining show at the Red Rocks Amphitheatre on May 21st, absent the opulent orchestra today, but you'll see them in full force on Sunday. Opiuo, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking.
I love the positivity is flowing, whether it's on interview, on the Instagram, in the music, the live sets. Thank you for that. The caffeine is starting to wear off. The second one is due, so that very much helps me do my job too.
Yeah. I'm suffering from a bit of jet lag right now. I flew in 2 days ago, so definitely loaded on caffeine.
Yes, well, the touring schedule has been pretty crazy, and we're gonna get into it. But before we talk about the music and all the success you've been having, I did want to know what was going through the mind of a 38-year-old Oscar at this very moment.
I mean, that's the coolest thing you can ever do in your life. I think everyone should do it if they've not got heart problems.
Yeah, walk me through it. So I have always been of the mindset that I want to go skydiving a lot more than I want to go bungee jumping.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yes.
100%.
Walk me through the moment you're about to take that leap, and when I guess the initial shock kind of wears off.
So you get in the plane, they talk to you about it, you get your harness on and you go on the plane, they fly up. The scariest bit I think is the flying up, because you're just going up in this plane with no door on the back and there's all these people sitting there and you're just looking out. The actual easiest part is that they are the ones that push you out the plane, that you're attached to them, and you stick your head back and then they roll out. And that's the moment that's kind of the terrifying couple of seconds where you've hit sort of the free fall speed, right? And then it's just awesome. Then you just scream and just see this view, and it's the most exhilarating thing. And then for days you're just smiling, So I don't know. There's that kind of window before you jump, and then right as you jump, that are just the weirdest feeling you've ever had. But I don't know. It's amazing. It's nothing like it. It's awesome.
I love it. The key to the positivity apparently is free falling out of a plane. So there's your mental health advice for the day. You've got the Red Rocks show coming up. I was just watching the last one that you did with the live orchestra, and it's such a cool fusion of live music, electronic music, classical music. It reminded me of the scene I was watching from the last season of the Wu-Tang Clan TV show, where the RZA is trying to incorporate a live orchestra into what eventually becomes Triumph off their sophomore album, and the rest of the clan is just not having it. They don't understand it. Walk me through sort of the rehearsal creative process of incorporating a live orchestra into your live sets.
I mean, it starts with just, I guess I spent probably a couple of months just trying to think about what songs I would want to do. You've got to be the biggest part, I think, is it's not just about playing your biggest songs, about playing the songs that would benefit the most from having an orchestra, the ones that you can probably get most creative and pulling them apart, and having them play the different sounds, and which bits you can EQ out. You can leave some of the really rumbling sub stuff, but you can get rid of the raw raspiness that a trombone could do, and start thinking about things like that. That's just thinking about it for months, without actually doing anything. So I started doing that 6 months ago for this show, and then I can even show you. I'm actually in an apartment right now, and we're composing as I told you. This is Tom in here. Say hi, Tom. Hi.
Hey, Tom.
So me and Tom worked together for months afterwards, putting basically the orchestration together, just starting what instruments we want early on, and it's kind of it's sort of trying to be as creative and exciting as possible to keep the fun up, but it really comes down to grabbing songs that you feel can just be enhance the best by something like that, and that's the best starting point. Then it's about just diving in and going, all right, what do we want to do here? Do we want to change the arrangement of the original and lengthen this section and have a bigger intro? What's going to go best? And I structure it in movements where I'll have 2 or 3 or 4 songs together, and they all sort of have a similar approach to the orchestration, and then the next movement can be a completely different approach where the violins might be plucking instead of playing, and just really sort of reset people's ears. So I guess like a lot of thought and then months of the grinding of composing, and then I actually have a rehearsal tomorrow. We only get one rehearsal with the orchestra.
Whoa.
And they're amazing players, and that's what they do. They're professional. We built the orchestra ourselves again, and which is really fun because we get to choose what we want. And it comes down to even things like the PA that we have is full cardioid and most of the frequencies we can get, so that the stage is as quiet as possible, so we can have that orchestra as loud as possible out front, so we can really get delicate on certain sections, instead of just trying to have this orchestra competing with this really loud electronic noise. So we want to have the most of everything, all at once. Yeah.
For some people who may think an orchestra and classical music is boring or outdated, what is it that an orchestra can kind of add to electronic music, and particularly in this setting? Like, where are people maybe sleeping on the classics a little bit?
I guess like it's like taking, a lot of I found, for me anyway, just total personal opinion, listening to orchestra music when I was younger, it was the moments where it was like it wasn't trying to overdo too much to get a point across. It was trying to, as simply as possible, make you feel the most amount of emotion, by using things where a bunch of strings can come in, and secretly, as you go across these 8 bars, some of them underneath, the cellos might be changing and getting a bit more, higher up in the register, or creating bigger chords or more euphoric moments. So you don't really notice, but it's kind of like you're progressing through a song, and suddenly you get to a point and you're like, fuck, I'm feeling this extra big feeling, and it kind of can take over and turn just, an enjoyable moment into something where you can have, layers of emotion added to it. And, classical music is that. But I think trying to relate it to something where there is a 4/4 time signature and a beat and a song and a structure that people can dance to, and merging the two.
I think a lot of times when we look at artists who aren't in a band, solo performers, we think of it very much as like an independent pursuit, and that's why I really like that you had Ashes sleeping over while you guys were working on music. You got your friend in the other room right now. For you, can you talk to me a little bit about like the benefits of having that creative process in person with other artists?
I mean, I think it's everything. I think, for years I wasn't able to really, I guess, make the most of the people around me as well, in that sense, because I was, testing out the limits of my own thing. And then you hit points where you've got to a certain moment with a song or a show, and you're like, I trust this person's judgment, or I just want them involved, or they might suggest something, and I'm very much, I guess, just I've done it for much longer than a decade, and when someone says something constructive or an idea, it's like, yeah, let's try that. Like, yeah, let's do it. And then as soon as you do it, if you're like, I've got a good reason why I don't think this is working, and there's nothing to be lost by trying it,
Totally.
so. And so often someone's like, they might think they know, what they want, and that's fine, but there's always more, and after doing it for so long, there is always more. There's always a wave of people being into something and they're not into something, and it comes back and you can change it. And it's about looking at it through different lenses, and it's so subjective, so there's no way to say this is right and this is wrong. It's getting an award is an amazing thing, but that's just someone else judging it. So it's like, yeah, I think adding more people in the mix is great.
I want to read you a quote that you put on Instagram about a month ago. And you wrote, I was stressing so hard about this weekend's Sonic Select shows, Melbourne and Byron. Been so unsure of what to play, where to start, how to make it flow. Then I realized, F it. It's about having fun and going on a ride and playing whatever feels right as we go. And it's all started flowing now, and I'm so effing excited to play and get lost. As someone whose music is so rooted in people having fun and giving that sort of joyful experience to your listeners, Talk to me about some of the stressors you feel as an artist and how you remind yourself to turn that positivity inwards. Because I can't tell you how many times I've heard about the people who are the most giving in their friendships and their relationships are often the ones who maybe don't sort of apply that same sort of philosophy to themselves. I'm not saying that you aren't, but yeah, how do you go about sort of reminding yourself of that?
I mean, I think there's something to be said about being, I'm never nervous right before I walk on stage, but I'm overly nervous or anxious or whatever leading up to things weeks ahead because I don't really know what I'm doing or exactly how I'm going to structure it. And that was actually the first time that I would gathered some music and then literally gone and just played whatever felt right. I knew I was going to play first and I was going to try and play a certain song last. And that was kind of all I knew.
Whoa.
And that was the freedom to be, I guess the freedom was also allowed because of the people that I felt like were coming were open to that. There was no like, this is what it needs to be. I hope it's this, there was all that kind of stuff that can so often come with the show. And I've been very fortunate to either evolve with the people around me who do enjoy it to be able to be afforded that, which is awesome. But yeah, I guess like I think that there's something healthy inside being anxious and nervous about things because you're pushing yourself or you're not just doing what you know is going to work. And in general in life, I have a beautiful wife and kids, and I feel like my life outside of music is something so important to me and
Mm,
can give me balance and can allow me to turn around and see them and be like, no, actually this is what matters, as well as what I
totally.
do. And so then it can, yeah, I think that's something I would always advise people to have a really strong friendships and family and life outside of music or outside of whatever their creative side is. It's nice to have those people around you all the time that are inside your creativity world, but there's nothing better than be able to just reflect on it from far away.
Since you brought up your beautiful wife and kids, I know it's something that myself and a lot of colleagues who work a lot who travel a lot for work can sort of struggle with. How do you work to achieve that balance when you know you have something at home that's so important and foundational to all the other success that you have, but your job requires you to go out on the road?
Well, they arrived last night and they're here for 3 months with me.
Hey.
Yeah, this is the first time that we've done something like this, and they've come along. I don't want to take them to every show, and that's not what this is about. It's about being able to fly home, the next day, and they're there, and give them a good existence in life, and they're excited for it too. And yeah, I toured a lot last year and was away a lot, and actually really struggled with it. It was the first time I'd not enjoyed being on the road sometimes, and I had to change that thing. I couldn't just keep going because that was what people do. It was like, no, this isn't right. I don't care what other people do. It's not working for me. So I had to change it, and it's expensive adventure to do it and everything, but it's highly worth every bit because what is all this without some level of happiness and in life? So it's that the game is whether it's a game or the journey of this creative process is so driven, and as soon as you are somewhere you feel the pressure to continue because it is so rewarding, but you also carry everyone else on your shoulders too that would love to be there, and there's all this other stuff that goes with it. So that drive is never going to go away as a creative person because it's such an amazing thing to do. But yeah, for me, I really need to involve my family too because that's such a grounding reality. Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for your candor. Second, I'm very happy to hear that your family gets to check out the show. What a show it'll be. And I feel like I could do this forever with you, but time is winding down. I'd love to run through some rapid fire, some stuff off the beaten path, if that's okay
Yeah.
with you. All right, let's do it. First, name me your EDM of your Avengers EDM. What's the ultimate B2B, 2B, 2B, to B, you and three other artists?
Oh my god. I wouldn't even know where to start. I'll go from where I first began. It would be someone from like Bad Company or someone from the drum and bass field. Let's say D-Bridge,
Okay.
because he's really creative and out there. I'd say someone like Tipper, who's a good friend, who he's just would be. I'd be interested to see what he would play if he actually did a back to back like that. And then someone to bring something totally different, like FKJ. There you go.
Wow, that was I didn't expect that answer. I like it.
Neither did I. It just came to my head. That was the first thing that popped in.
Best answers are the ones that pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, I just imagine trying each of us to try and play something that would each of us would play. I don't know, would end up somewhere.
Who knows? Maybe one day.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about throughout the interview about sort of like the idea of burnout and how to manage that. What I would like from you is your burnout remedy: food, activities, hobbies, rituals, anything that can kind of help you in a pinch.
For me, it's like riding really fast on a motorbike.
Please be careful.
It's funny because I can actually reset my brain. Road bikes, but also dirt bikes off road. At our property in Australia, I do that a bunch. Going and like cleaning up the property, chopping a tree down, burning a big pile of things, just like something that's so removed from that world that I can't even think about it. A good reset, a day with the family. Um, Food wise, just a good home cooked meal. Just something that's just solid. Yeah,
Well,
not
on
take away.
that note, where does freshly harvested honey rank amongst the greatest food eating experiences?
I grew up around a grandfather who was a beekeeper, and my dad was a beekeeper, and we have hives on our property. It's the best. It tastes like where you live. That's the thing. That's the
Hey.
most amazing thing. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. I've been trying to, I don't know if they still offer the services, but at one point you could kind of get like beehives set up in your backyard. So I got to look into
Yeah.
that once I have a property
Yeah.
with a big enough
I
space for
I
them.
saw a lot of them last time I was in New York. There was a lot on people's roofs and around. Yeah, that was cool.
Just a couple more. What movie score would you say has inspired you the most?
Ooh. I mean, there's a really tripped out TV show called Utopia on Channel
Hmm.
4 in the UK, and I can't remember the composer's name, but the original music from that is absolutely insane. It came out a few years before the pandemic, but it's pretty much on the line of a pandemic storyline. It's really out there. It's about this comic book, but the music is phenomenal. Cristobal maybe or someone, I think his name was. I can't remember, but don't quote me as being wrong. But yeah, that was incredible.
Last one, and it's okay if you want to keep this one to yourself, but I'm curious, is there one off the cuff live performance album or idea you have rattling around in your brain that you'd like to execute down the line?
To be honest, when I'm doing something like this, I can't think it past this. But as soon as this is over, the the nothingness that's left is giant, and I have to find something else to fill that. As soon as 1 or 2 days later, I'm like, "What am I going to do next?" Okay, and then it'll come. And that's what I do like about it because it is spontaneous. There's instruments in this orchestra that we haven't used before. There's different ways of doing it, and so the next time, I have no idea.
What a perfect way to tie it all back together. Opiuo ahead of your Red Rock Amphitheatre show with the Opulent Orchestra on May 21st. If there's anything you want to let the people know, the floor is yours.
I love you all, and do your best.